One more time. We are going live and direct. We tell you it is best to hit the icon button, ring the bell, stay tuned. We are putting in this work. The beast is gonna get this work. Thank you for your presence. You might not catch this live for multiple reasons. Some people are at work, some people are asleep, some people are in traffic, some people don't have no light, no internet, or the opportunity. But if you are catching it, your presence is deeply appreciated. Supreme Grand Rising, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever on the planet that you may be, in whichever of the four corners or in the belly of the beast, whatever time or calendar you are using, I hope you find yourself well, in good health, in good financial situation, in good mental health, because this life that we all are living in, it can get rough, it can get bumpy. So I don't take nothing for granted. Over here at the Society of Luminaries, we believe that over time, truth can transform how you feel, how you think, and how you act. So we try to find the truth, speak on the truth. Sometimes the truth might hurt some feelings, but that's another thing. We believe in facts over feelings, truth over feelings, truth over emotions. Uh, a lot of us were born into this mess. We're born into this society. It's not our fault. We didn't make this world. I sure didn't. I'm just trying to make sense of it. And while in the process of making sense, trying to build. But we've noticed something that sometimes you can't build on something that's already there. So sometimes chapter one is demolish. So we're trying to get to the bottom of things. We believe the truth will set us free. We're trying to motivate the scholars, the warriors, the leaders, the lions to rise up. In due time, we shall move on to the next steps. So let us begin without further ado.
By now, let me tell you, if you are not a conspiracy theorist by now, let me tell you, if you are not a conspiracy theorist by now, it's because
you are not intelligent.
They wasn't ready for this back then. They probably not ready for it now. Those that sleep forever gonna be sleep. Those that woke, woke. Yo soy la reencarnación de Tupac Amaru. Wait, what? De Tupac Amaru. Tupac. Yo soy la reencarnación. Amaru. That's lit. De Tupac Amaru. Gang. Each one takes time to succeed. This one is dedicated for the children of the sun. Each one takes time to succeed. This one is dedicated for the children of the sun. They sold us the illusion of democracy and freedom. Now they worry that my music has the power of healing. Unleashing all the demons fed through TV and through lies. They rule by secrecy, why do you think justice blind? Each one takes time to succeed. This one is dedicated for the children of the sun. Each one takes time to succeed. This one is dedicated for the children of the sun. They sold us the illusion of democracy and freedom. Now they worry that my music has the power of healing. Unleashing all the demons fed through TV and through lies. They rule by secrecy, why do you think justice blind? Each one takes time to succeed. This one is dedicated for the children of the sun. Each one takes time to succeed. This one is dedicated for the children of the sun. That's hard. I know you've been patiently waiting, miseducated, anxiously aching for a blue-eyed savior, but I'ma do you a favor.
Yeah, I know some of y'all been patiently waiting for a blue-eyed savior, but I'm gonna do you a favor and unlearn what you've learned. Unlearn what you've learned. We are continuing on our series on the Jesuits, the Society of Jesus. One thing that's interesting about this Wikipedia reading is that, we find that this is it's unfolding like a thriller, right? A lot of things. We read a lot of things so far. If you haven't caught the previous ones, in part 2.1 and 2.2, we read about the Jesuits in Ireland. And in Ireland, they were being persecuted. They were getting killed. A lot of things was going on. But one thing that we didn't get to the bottom of because of Wikipedia is that it seems like they're pussyfooting around why. What is the reason? I mean, it's Wikipedia, so let us continue. So we have here a Bressani Map of 1657 depicting the martyrdom of Jean de Brebeuf. We've already took him out. We got him right here, and we already got him filed. We're gonna look him up later on. Most likely do the same thing with the videos. Read through it, because we're just trying to piece things together. We will elevate. We will rise, but we're just starting here. Like we've said like I said in a previous video, we're not even getting our feet wet right now. We're just getting our toes wet. Google got this new tool called Lens, where you take a picture and then it shows so I just wanted to try that out real quick. So now we're in Canada, modern day Canada, but they didn't call it Canada back then. Canada didn't exist at this point in time. During the French colonization of New France. New France was the territory colonized by France in North America, beginning with the exploration of the Gulf of St. Lawrence by Jacques Cartier in 1534, and ending with the cession of New France to Great Britain. All right. So a lot of political things going on, and that's one thing that we did get to the bottom of in the previous videos. That they call themselves an order, but back in the days, these were gangs. They conducted themselves and such. They were just religious gangs. That's what. Just like in England, they have sports gangs, right? I think a lot of people, they're well known about that, like the hooligans, they're sports gangs. Well, these are religious gangs from back in the day. I know that's hard to understand nowadays because we have modern day concepts of what is and what isn't. And that's one of the problems that when we're reading, past things, these words get in the way because we have modern. So during the French colonization of New France in the 17th century, Jesuits played an active role in North America. Samuel de Champlain. If I butcher some of these names, please, I apologize. If you want to comment or say something, you can. Established the foundations of the French colony at Quebec in 1608. The native tribes that inhabited modern-day Ontario, Quebec, and the areas around Lake Simcoe and Georgian Bay were the Montagnes, and Algonquins, and the Huron. Wyandot people are indigenous people of northeastern woodlands of North America and speakers of the Iroquois language. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, but them shoes look kind of fly. If they were molded more like like some Air Force Ones or some Jordans, I bet you people would really rock with them. But let me move on before they start taking these ideas. But them look fine. Remember that the old is new, and the new is old. So I don't know. Go ahead and leave a comment. What y'all think? They look fly to y'all, or nah? Or I'm just tripping. It don't matter to me. I said what I said. It's documented. Champlain believed that these had souls to be saved. Is that right? So, in 1614, he obtained the Recollects. The Franciscan Recollects were a French Reformed branch of the Friars Minor, a Franciscan order, denoted by their gray habits and pointed hoods. Pointed hoods? The pointed hoods I know is the KKK, but let's move on. The Recollects devoted their lives to an extra emphasis on prayer, penance, and spiritual recollection, focusing on living in small, remote, and we can continue. That sounds interesting. We might have to look into that later on. I'm sure when we continue, we'll, these Franciscans, what it says here, a reformed branch of the Franciscans in France to convert the native inhabitants. In 1624, the French Recollects realized the magnitude of their task and sent a delegate to France to invite the Society of Jesus to help with this mission. Okay, so they were allies. Okay, the invitation was accepted, and Jesuits Jean de Brebeuf, Enemode Massey, and Charles Lalemont arrived in Quebec in 1625. I'm sure a whole lot of French names and dates and all that's gonna come up. Lalemont is considered to have been the first author of one of the Jesuit Relations of New France, which chronicled their evangelization during the 17th century. The Jesuits became involved in the Huron mission in 1626 and lived among the Huron peoples. Brebeuf learned the native language. See this, see they're learners, and they learn native language. While we're still, uh, still speaking only one language, the colonized language, these people were learning native language. So how hard can it be that these people were learning it? How come a lot of us can't? Could it be that many don't want to? That's up to you. I'm not judging nobody. So Brebeuf or Brebeuf learned the native language and created the first Huron language dictionary. See, we here it is again. We've said it many times. These Jesuits are the creators of dictionaries. They should be an example to many of us. We should have our own dictionary. That's why I'm not one of these that go, oh, the dictionary says, bruh. But I'm not judging. You just don't know. Outside conflict forced the Jesuits to leave New France. In 1629, when Quebec was surrendered to the English. In 1632, Quebec was returned to the French under the Treaty of Saint Germain en Laye, and the Jesuits returned to the Huron territory. After a series of epidemics of European introduced diseases beginning in 1636, some Huron began to mistrust the Jesuits and accusing them of being sorcerers, casting spells from their books. Well, see, here we are. To me, it seems like we're finally starting to get a glimpse of what we're dealing with. I said it before in the previous, in the initial one, in part one, that since their founding day, when the 7 original founders with Ignatius and Diego and the other 5 that I still haven't committed to memory, they where did they meet? Does anyone know? Does anyone remember? Did you guys catch it? Where did they meet? They met at a very peculiar place. A place that I wouldn't meet with 6 of my brothers if I wanted to found a establishment. Not me, not I, but they did. So they began to mistrust the Jesuits and accuse them of being sorcerers, casting spells from their books. Well, which books were these? Which books were these? Obviously, the obvious one that comes to mind is the Bible. These is the Society of Jesus. I mean, it's in their name. But I assume we're gonna hear more of this sorcery. Sorcery. Remember spelling, spells and spelling, and dictionaries. I mean, and I don't trust them with these Europeans when they're epidemics. I mean, epidemics, pandemics, plandemics, scamdemics, academics. I mean, you gotta stay on your toes. You gotta stay woke. You gotta stay woke. Oh, and speaking on words, let me clarify it up because one time one brother in the comments was like, I hope when you say woke, you don't mean the woke movement that's going on today. Brother, no. It's even ridiculous that I have to explain it, but I guess a lot of people, you're under spells. See, here, what we're trying to do here, no, not what we're trying to do. What we are doing is dispelling. We're breaking spells. We're banging on the beast. That's what we do. That's what we're doing. That's why stay tuned. That's why I hope more and more catch wind of this channel and come in and tune in from time to time. It'll do you good. It'll do your mind some good. It'll do your heart some good. It'll do your body some good, and it'll do your spirit some good. Yeah, we're healing over here. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not. So that's on you. In 1639, Jesuit Jerome Lelemont, SJ, that's their gang initials, decided that the missionaries among the Hurons needed a local residence and established Saint Marie near present-day Midland, Ontario, which is meant to be a replica of European society. To me, this all sounds very fishy. First of all, from the point that I could have swore that in their initial doctrine, they say that they put an oath for poverty. But I keep reading that they keep establishing schools and this and that. Well, how can one go be with another? But that's where, we are reading in between the lines. And like I said, I hope my commentary doesn't ruin the flow of things, because I'm trying to be of service here. I'm trying to spark dialogue. That's what we're trying to do here. Like I said, we're trying to motivate the warriors. We're trying to motivate the scholars. We're trying to motivate just basic literature and learning, because a lot of people don't read no more. It's like like being a reader. Reading is dying, and that's part of the propaganda. People are being brainwashed. Children, not even just children, adults don't have 30 minutes to read. Not even 30 minutes, 30 seconds. So here we're trying to break those spells. So that's why come in, brother, come in, sister. Join. That's why it's the Society of Luminaries. Shine and bang on the beast. They're not going to like you, but we going to love you. The real ones is going to show love. So let us continue. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend, and, come in. It became the Jesuit headquarters and an important part of Canadian history. Oh my. See, I'm learning with y'all. I'm learning the same way with y'all. I knew about these Jesuits. I knew that they were factors, just like many do. But I didn't know, no. And this is just Wikipedia. We're just getting our toe wet. But for some of y'all getting your toe wet, man, you guys are scared of the water. But we are the water bearers here. I am a water bearer. I am your humble servant. I'm here to serve. So please hit the like. Please watch to the end. I'm not asking for much. This is work. Throughout most of the 1640s, man, look at these dates. The Jesuits had modest success. That's what we're doing here. That's what the Society of Luminaries is doing. I'm having modest success. Oh, and I feel joy with your presence. I feel joy when somebody hits the like button, or somebody drops a comment, or is emailing me for certain topics or certain interests. It's modest success. Establishing 5 chapels. Oh, whoa. This is not modest though. 5 chapels. I'm just happy with a few likes, and they're establishing 5 chapels. Okay, hold on. Then let me recalibrate modest success. You know what I mean? Establishing 5 chapels in Huronia and baptizing more than 1,000 Huron out of the population, which may have exceeded 20,000 before the epidemics of the 1630s. How many epidemics have these Europeans brought to the Americas? Man, was it truth or was it lies that they say that the Moors taught these Europeans how to wash their ass? That they didn't even know what soap was. Is that disrespectful? Am I being disrespectful? Is that racist? Or is just that truth? I'm asking. I'm asking. However, the Iroquois of New York, rivals of the Hurons, grew jealous of the Hurons' wealth and control of the fur trade system and attacked Huron villages in 1648. I told y'all there's a whole lot of gang shit going on. Whole lot of gang, bang, bang. John Wayne-ish. Not only with the Jesuits and what they banging, but you see here what's going on. I don't feel bad. It's before our times. We wasn't even alive or born. Or were we? Oh, but that's another topic for another time. They killed missionaries and burned villages, and the Hurons scattered. Both de Brebeuf and Gabriel Lelamont were tortured and killed in the Iroquois raids. For this, they have been canonized as martyrs in the Catholic Church. So now with these guys is Saint de Brebeuf and Saint Lelamont. So that's how the Catholic Church this is just canonized as martyrs. Hey, if you know more than I do, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and each one teach one. That's what we're doing here. We're building. Each one teach one. We're building. Build. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the ride. Yeah, it just don't happen overnight. This doesn't happen overnight. The Jesuit Paul Ragueneau burnt down Saint Marie instead of allowing the Iroquois the satisfaction of destroying it. You see, sometimes we need to burn our own things down. But some of y'all just can't burn ish down because y'all find joy. You find it's part of your old lives. By late June 1648, let me take a sip of this tea. This is the Society of Luminaries. The truth shall set us free. By late June 1649, the French and some Christian Hurons built Saint Marie II. Not one, but two. Hold on, let me see something. On Christian Island. On Christian Island. Let me see this. This is Christian Island is a large island in Georgian Bay close to the communities of Penetangisheen and Midland, Ontario. Christian Island Indian Reserve. This is ludicrous. Isle of St. Joseph. However, facing starvation lack of supplies, and constant threats of Iroquois attack, the small Sainte Marie II was abandoned in June 1650. The remaining Christian Hurons and Jesuits departed from Quebec and Ottawa. As a result of the Iroquois' raids and outbreak of disease, many missionaries, traders, and soldiers died. Today, the Huron tribe, also known as the Wyandot, have a First Nations reserves in Quebec, Canada, and three major settlements in the United States. Like I said, I didn't even know all this. So this is very interesting to me. You know, very interesting. And I hope it's interesting to you too, because all we're doing is learning what they didn't teach us in school, or did they? And I just wasn't paying attention, because I was a terrible student. I refused to be indoctrinated before I even knew what that word meant. But I refused. Yeah, I was a young revolutionary before I even knew what that meant. After the collapse of the Huron nation, with their, I bet you those were like the first Jordans and Air Force Ones back then, man. That's probably why the Iroquois was banging on them. I wonder if the Iroquois. Now I want to see what the Iroquois, what them shoes was looking like. The Jesuits undertook the task of converting the Iroquois. Man, they bold. Something they had attempted in 1642 with little success. In 1653, the Iroquois nation had a fallout with the Dutch. Oh, so they was affiliated with the Dutch. They then signed a peace treaty with the French, and a mission was established. See how we got to read in between the lines? See how we got to read in between the lines, y'all? It's crazy. The Iroquois soon turned on the French again. In 1658, the Jesuits were having little success. That doesn't mean no success. Little success is little success. And were under constant threat of being tortured or killed, but continued their effort until 1687, when they abandoned their permanent post in the Iroquois homeland. By 1700, Jesuits turned to maintaining Quebec, Montreal, and Ottawa without establishing new posts. So they stayed low. During the 7 Years' War, Quebec was captured by the British in 1759, and New France came under British control. The British barred the immigration of more Jesuits to New France, and by 1763, only 21 Jesuits were stationed in New France. By 1773, only 11 Jesuits remained. During the same year, the British Crown declared that the Society of Jesus in New France was dissolved. The dissolution of the order left in place substantial estates and investments, amounting to an income of approximately £5,000 a year, and the Council of the Affairs of the Province of Quebec, later succeeded by the Legislative Assembly of Quebec, assumed the task of allocating the funds to suitable recipients, chiefly schools. So like I said earlier, they made vows to poverty, right? They made vows to poverty, but they worked. They had loot. The Jesuit mission in Quebec was reestablished in 1842. There were a number of Jesuit colleges founded in the decades following. One of these colleges evolved into the present day Laval University. What happened with the? Okay, there you go. You see what I'm saying? That so United States one, it's a few paragraphs, and remember this is Wikipedia. I already took out another page where it goes deeper into North America. We will continue. You know, this is gonna be a pretty long series. I don't even know where we're gonna end. It might go into the hundreds because I already got into it. This is I'm feeling the information. Like I told you before, I don't like to read neither, but I like to learn, and I definitely like to know the truth. They say what you don't know will hurt you. What you don't know will hurt you. A lot of people don't even know what these colleges and what they're teaching. That's why a lot of children are failing nowadays. I'm glad that in the United States and around the world, homeschooling is up, 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 up. So much that the governments are trying to ban homeschooling. So let us continue. Jesuits in the United States. Main article: Jesuits in the United States. Wait, do we have another? Jesuits in the United States? Okay, then we're gonna read this later on. For now, we're just gonna do the brief. Like I told you, we're just gonna be humble. Take our time, uh, uh, and just read what it is, and then we're gonna break down more and more and more, and then at the end, we're gonna paint our own picture. Obviously, not just with Wikipedia. We're gonna go into more sources. So let us continue. In the United States, the order is best known for its missions to the Native Americans. We're gonna pull this out too. In the early 17th century, its network of colleges and universities. Like I said in part one, this is the key. We must learn. And in Europe before 1773, its politically conservative role in the Catholic Counter-Reformation. The Society of Jesus in the United States is organized into geographic provinces, each of which being headed by a provincial superior president. Today, there are 4 Jesuit provinces operating in the United States: the USA East, USA Central, Southern, and USA Midwest, and USA West provinces. It says 4 provinces. Okay, they hooked this one up together: Central and Southwest, USA Midwest, and USA West. Provinces. At their height, there were 10 provinces, though there had been mergers in the past. A major reorganization of the provinces began in early 21st century. with the aim of consolidating into 4 provinces by 2020. Oh, there go that year, 2020. What happened in 2020? A lot of things happened in 2020, and they consolidated. Let's move on down south to our brothers in Ecuador. Let's see what the Church of the Society. Now they're called the Church. The Church of the Society of Jesus, Spanish, La Iglesia de la Campaña de Jesús. See, they word campaña, but in English is the company, and company is a military word. Yeah, this is they're military minded. You've been blinded, but don't mind me. We're just reading. I'm just thinking out loud. Well, look at the church. The Church and Covenant of Saint Ignacio de Loyola de la Compañía de Jesús de Quito, also known in the Ecuadorian people simply as La Campaña, is a Catholic clerical complex located on the corner formed by calles Garcia Moreno and Sucre. Oh, sugar. In the historic center of the city of Quito. Well, look at that. For people that made a vow of poverty, and man, we're gonna have to read this later on. Anyways, let us continue. Known colloquially as La Campaña, is a Jesuit church in Quito, Ecuador. It is among the best known churches in Quito because of its large central nave. The nave is the central part of the church, which is this part here. Stretching from the main entrance. Oh, so the nave is this part here. Or is it this part here? Rear wall to the transepts, or the church without transepts to the chancel. Okay, then it is this part here. When the church contains side aisles, as in the basilica type buildings, the strict definition of the term nave is restricted to the central aisle. So it's because of its large central nave, which is profusely decorated with gold. That's the word right here, profusely. They're just like look at this, bro. Like this is just this vulgar. Profusely decorated with gold leaf, gilded plaster, and wood carvings, inspired by two Roman Jesuit churches, the Chicia del Jesús. Imagine this Jesús means Jesus. And the Chicia de San Ignacio de Loyola. Huh. And let's look at this one. Okay. But this one is like La Campaña or La Compañía. No, this is La Campaña. Is one of the most significant works of Spanish Baroque architecture in South America and Quito's most ornate church. So this is the Spanish Baroque is a strand of Baroque architecture that evolved in Spain, its provinces, and former colonies. They probably jacked it from the Moors. They probably jacked it from the Arabs that was banging on them. Over the 160 years of its construction. You see what I'm saying? Some people want to construct overnight. They just want to build overnight. And what's it say there? 160 years, bro. 160 years. It's not one person's lifetime, but they have a different mindset. Some of y'all still, just worrying about today and tomorrow. So over the 160 years of its construction, the architects of La Compañía incorporated elements of four architectural styles. Although the Baroque is the most prominent, Mudajer, Moorish. What I tell ya? What I tell ya? Look at this Mudajer. Mudeja were Muslims who remained in Iberia in the late medieval period following the Christian reconquest. It is also a term for Mudajer art, which was much influenced by Islamic art but produced typically by Christian craftsmen. So I'm not knowing because this term is new to me, but these are the Masons, the Arabic Masons. They're builders. Moorish architecture. Influence is seen in the geometrical figures on the pillars. The Churrigueresque, I ain't gonna lie, like that's another part of me that's learning and growing as I'm starting to respect the architecture, and also since I'm getting into designs and sacred design and sacred geometry, these people were on some other levels. So hopefully some of y'all that don't appreciate this stuff should and can. But it's by choice and not by force. That's why here at the Society of Luminaries, we're just trying to shine light on these things. That's all we're doing. At the end of the day, be happy. Do you. I'm just trying to find my tribe. I'm speaking to my people. My people is a vibe. The Churrigueresque characterizes much of the ornate decoration, especially in the interior walls. Finally, the neoclassical style adorns the chapel of Saint Mariana de Jesus in early years, a winery. So that's them in Ecuador. Much to learn there. We might have to do another video, another chapter just about this, and break down architecture and numbers and sacred geometry. We're gonna go deep. That's why I appreciate the ones that's starting from the ground up. You just might be a luminary. You just might be a hero. You just might be the bringer of change in these new times. Yeah, the matrix has switched. Some is still with the old. How much time? How much time have we done? Let's ponder. Let's take a breath. Let's breathe. Let's breathe for a minute. We've gone in 49 minutes. Now let's look how What's Mexico looking like? I mean, since we are just doing introductory, since we are just doing introductory, let's go into Mexico or Mexico or Mexico or Mexica, or is it Anahuac, or is it Anahuaca, or oh man, there's so many names. I'm having personal confusion because I'm trying to learn ancient ancient tongues and dialects and languages, and I'm kind of confused because I'm trying to there's so many languages, so many variants, and then there's also so many like what we said here, that these Jesuits were doing the dictionaries. So if I find a dictionary, but I find out that a Jesuit was doing a Nahuatl dictionary, so I think I'm learning Nahuatl, but it's through a Jesuit. I don't feel that. I'm not vibing with that. But discernment is key. I believe the Most High has blessed me with discernment. I could smell BS from a mile away. So I read in between the lines. That's why I'm reading Wikipedia. I don't feel no type of way reading Wikipedia. I've learned a lot right now with y'all. So let's learn some more. Let's continue with this part 3 of the Jesuits, the expansion in Canada, Ecuador, and now we're going to go into New Mexico. So let's look at this picture. It says Misión de Nuestra Señora de Loreta Concho or Concho in the 18th century, the first permanent Jesuit mission in Baja California, established by Juan Maria de Salvatierra in 1697. This guy's last name is Salvatierra. Sometimes I gotta laugh at the Matrix. The Matrix has humor. So this is their little compound. See, right now I can't even say we're gonna break it down to the very last compound because we're just getting started. But I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're present. We're getting through this, but we're enjoying the ride. We're not in no rush. Yeah, stop and smell the roses. If it's God's will, it's God's will. But I'm going to tell you one thing. A lot of people want to put it in God's hands. But I thought that he puts it in our hands. The main altar of the Jesuit Colegio in Tepozoptlan, now the Museo Nacional de Wyandot. I don't know where I've seen this before. Oh, I know. It was in a movie. Because for some strange reason, a few months ago, this year I believe, I got into like a what's it called? Like a binge watching. And not binge watching like over and over, like for hours, binge watching it like every time I would eat dinner, I would watch a saint movie. And it was weird because it was a fluke. Like a lot of these things, one thinks it's a fluke, but it's not a fluke. I don't believe in flukes. I don't believe in coincidences. So on YouTube, it just showed up. Or no. Somebody told me to watch this movie about a saint, Italian saint. He was a doctor and he was feeding the poor. And then from that, because I didn't know nothing about this so-called saint doctor, so I wanted to learn more about him. So I watched other videos, and then next time I turned the TV on, YouTube channel on the TV, it said another saint. So I watched another saint and another saint, and it was and I was kind of doing research, just watching these movies, and this one showed up, but at least at least it's similar. I'm trying to look at. I was looking at his facial features, like, you know what I mean. Do some of y'all believe in deja vu? Like, are these characters are you know what I mean? Mexican-born Jesuit. You see, Mexican-born, right? Jesuit. Today, he banging Mexican. People say he Mexican, and he banging Mexican. But it says here Mexican-born. Jesuit Francisco Clavijero, 1731, 1787. Wrote an important history of Mexico. Wrote an important history of Mexico. So he didn't create it, he wrote. So that's why a lot of people that say that they're this and that, sometimes anybody could say these things. But I bet you his family today is still in Mexico, and they swear to God they Mexican. Let us begin reading. The Jesuits in Mexico. The Jesuits in New Spain, before it was the term Mexico. There's another deep topic. Man, look at that. That's crazy. Y'all seen that? You seeing what I'm seeing? That's crazy. The Jesuits in New Spain distinguished themselves in several ways. They had high standards for acceptance to the order and many years of training. See, that's what we need, high standards of acceptance and many years of training. They attracted the patronage of elite families whose sons were educated in rigorous, newly founded Jesuit colegios, quote unquote, colleges, including Colegio de San Pedro y San Pablo, Colegio de San Ildefonso, and the Colegio of San Francisco Javier, Tepozoptlan. Those same elite families hoped that a son with the vocation to the priesthood would be accepted as a Jesuit. Jesuits were also zealous in evangelization of the indigenous, particularly of the northern frontiers. Which northern frontiers are we talking about if the USA border wasn't there at this point in time? Or was it? What years we talking about? It hasn't said any years. See, that's why we need to do further studies later on. But let's continue getting our toe wet. I hope it ain't too cold for y'all. Brrr. To support their colegios and members of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits acquired acquired landed estates that were run with the best practices of generating income in that era. Yes, sir. We need to learn. Put down the guns and the rags and the all the other stuff that one was once did. Put down the PlayStation controllers. Put down the blunts. Put down the liquor. Put down the beer. Put down and pick up and rise up. A number of these haciendas were donated by wealthy elites. The donation of a hacienda to the Jesuits was the spark igniting a conflict between 17th century Bishop Don Juan de Palafox of Puebla, not Don Juan. What's up with Don Juan? Was a Spanish politician, administrator, and Catholic clergyman of the 17th century Spain and the Viceroy of Mexico. See what I'm saying? These are your leaders? These are the people that bang Mexico today. Anybody would say he's Mexican, but it says here that he was a Spanish politician, meaning Spaniard, meaning European, meaning, let us continue. But we're going to bring him out just because we might look into him later on. We might need to. So it sparked a conflict, a beef, funk between Don Juan de Palafox y Mendoza of Puebla and the Jesuit Colegio in that city. Since the Jesuits resisted paying the tithe on their estates because they were a religious order, this donation effectively took revenue out of the church hierarchy's pockets by removing it from the tithe rolls. Sounds like extortion to me. Hey, but I could be wrong. Many of Jesuit haciendas were huge, with Palafox asserting that just 2 colleges owned 300,000 head of sheep, whose wool was transformed locally in Puebla to cloth. 6 sugar plantations worth 1,000,000 pesos and generating an income of 1,000 pesos in those times. I think I would like to have 100,000 pesos and 1,000,000 pesos today. I think I'd be cool. But this is in their time. They haven't even said the dates yet. The immense Jesuit hacienda of St. Lucia produced pulque. Why? Okay. Hope y'all can see it. I had to stretch out the screen. Pulque, occasionally known as octli or agave wine, is an alcoholic beverage made from the fermented sap of the maguey plant. Okay. So Europeans making alcohol, and then maybe that's the reason why a lot of Mexicans they promote this agave and this alcohol, but it makes sense if you got the Europeans doing it. So it was marketing even back then. But we'll get to that. We'll find out if it's true or not. It's just a hunch right now. The alcoholic drink made from fermented agave sap, whose main consumers were the lower classes and the indigenous people in Spanish cities. You know, I had a hunch a long time ago because I was going to ask, because it just sounded like marketing from back in the day. And I've done my research, about this. A lot of Mexicans today, they defend this alcoholic drink from the agave sap as like it was from the gods themselves. But it says here that the consumers were the lower classes and the indigenous people in Spanish cities. Let us continue. Although most haciendas had a free workforce, you see, wait, let me read that again. The most haciendas, let me go back, weren't the lower classes, and they weren't indigenous people. They were most haciendas, had a free workforce of permanent or seasonal laborers. They don't want to use the word slaves because a lot of people, get triggered with those words. And they want to believe in certain narratives. The Jesuit haciendas in Mexico had a significant number of enslaved people of African descent. The Jesuits operated their properties as an integrated unit with the larger Jesuit order. Thus, revenues from haciendas funded their colegios. Jesuits did significantly expand missions to the indigenous in the northern frontier area, and a number were martyred, but the crown supported those missions. Mendicant orders primarily certain Roman Catholic religious orders that have adopted for their male members of lifestyle of poverty, traveling, and living in urban areas for purposes of preaching. So same thing, huh? Mendicant orders that had real estate were less economically integrated, so that some individual houses were wealthy while others struggled economically. The Franciscans, who were founded as an order embracing poverty, well, this don't make a lick of sense, but I bet you they had a lot of people bamboozled back then, and probably got some of y'all bamboozled here today. So the Franciscans, who were founded as an order embracing poverty, did not accumulate real estate, unlike the Augustinians and the Dominicans in Mexico. So they were related to the mendicant religion order. Maybe later on we might have to read upon all these orders. Right now, let's just stay focused, laser focused. So everyone else was buying up land, minus the Franciscans. Kind of interested to know why not. Kind of sound noble to me. These other cats, they know what they were doing. The Jesuits engaged in conflict with the episcopal hierarchy over the question of payment and tithes. The 10% tax on agriculture levied on land estates for support of the church, hierarchy from the bishops and cathedral chapters to parish priests. Since the Jesuits were the largest religious order holding real estate, surpassing the Dominicans and the Augustinians, who had accumulated significantly property, this was no small matter. They argued that they were exempt due to the special pontifical privileges. Bishop de Palafox took on the Jesuits over this matter and was so soundly defeated that he was recalled to Spain. Get your ass over here. Where he became the bishop of the minor diocese of Osma. Is a Latin church ecclesiastical territory or diocese of the Catholic Church in northern Spain. It is a suffragan diocese in the ecclesiastical province. So they was just like, man, they making money over there. Let them be. They sending the loot. Get about their business. Sit your ass down. See, some things don't change. That's where some of us need to wake up, get our emotions in check, learn history. Some things are not in this realm. They don't change. Not in this realm. So instead of you being opinionated and thinking what you think, it's best to know. As everywhere in the Spanish Empire, the Jesuits were expelled from Mexico in 1767. See, that's the first date that they mentioned. And I found this information. I've said it on a couple lives before. I was surprised to find it. Their haciendas were sold off, and their colegios and missions in Baja California were taken over by other orders. Bang, bang. Exiled means deported. Mexican-born Jesuit Francisco Javier Clavijero wrote an important history of Mexico while in Italy. A basis for Creole patriotism. So is this guy like a founding father of Mexico? Let me find out. He got streets and stuff named out there, and they look up to this guy. So while he was in Italy, deported, a basis for Creole patriotism. In Hispanic America, criollo is a term used originally to describe people of full Spanish descent, born in the viceroyalties in different Latin American countries. The word has come to have different meaning, mostly referring to local born majority. Historically, they have been misportrayed as a social class. Yeah, that's really interesting right there. Yeah, we're all screwed up with words and phrases, and it's not our fault. It's just our responsibility. Yeah, it's not our. We're not to blame for the mistakes of the past, but it's our responsibility to correct some of the things as best as we can. Because in some Latin American countries, this criollo is meant native, but here, see, he's saying it like he's saying it like with a French is Creole, but he's saying it that it means the opposite. That it's foreign born people now living in Mexico, but now they're banging Mexico. Andre Cavo, also another Jesuit. We're going to bring him out. Did I bring him out already? Did I bring him out already? We go bring him out again. I'll go back and check things later. Cause we going, yeah, we filing them. We filing them. We organized somewhat, at least better than yesterday. So Andres Cavo also wrote an important text on Mexican history that Carlos Maria de Bustamante published in the early 19th century. Who's this guy? Was a Mexican statesman, historian, journalist who played a political and intellectual role in support of Mexican independence, both before and during the Mex. See, a lot of people don't know that this Mexican independence and that's when they turned the old word and the old land into Mexico. They bamboozled the people. And now modern day people, they bang Mexico. Like the word, the word Mexico, they love that word and they bang it foolishly. I know that real natives in Mexico, they don't like that word. They were like, bro, this ain't Mexico. They want to go back to the old terminologies. But they get outvoted, because it's now more of them. That's what all this writing history. People from not there, born somewhere else, or maybe brought there and born there, but they're really bloodlines from somewhere else, and or in Italy, like other dude, but they're writing history, and they're writing history. See, they're writing their story about this place. I don't know if I explain myself or I express myself correctly. And earlier, we will get into these things later on. When his names comes back up later on, we might have to pull him out. Right now, we know we're trying to get to the Jesuits. An earlier Jesuit who wrote about the history of Mexico was Diego Luis de Moctezuma. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Look at the name, Diego Luis. Where we at? Diego Luis de Moctezuma. He was an earlier Jesuit. So what is he? Is a Jesuit? Is he Mexican? Or like, where is his allegiance to? 1619 to 1699, a descendant of Aztec monarchs of Tenochtitlan, Montezuma's Corona Mexicana o Historia de los Nuevos Montezumas was completed in 1696. Now, why don't they have the links to these? Because I want to pull them out and stash them for later. So when we get into Mexican history and we start breaking that down, yeah, that's why they say that when you start learning and researching, it never ends. Because the more you know that you don't know. This is the example. And this is Wikipedia. This is like, a lot of people don't even respect this information because it might be tainted. I'm not saying all this is true. That's why we're just, we're getting things in order. We're just getting our toe wet. Later on, we're going to get our foot wet and our other toe. Then we're going to get knee deep. Be patient, grasshopper. But I want to read a story de los Nuevos Montezumas. I also want to know about the old Montezumas. Was completed in 1696. This Diego Luis, but he was a Jesuit though, aimed to show that Mexican emperors were a legitimate dynasty in the 17th century in the European sense. See, that's why there's a lot of debate. That's why there's a lot of debate amongst, people that research these things in the local areas. I know among, in the wider sense, nobody is digging up these things. But remember, why does it say the earlier Jesuit? Because it said at the beginning that soon as these Jesuits put their first schools, the elites, they love these folks. For some reason, the natives, some natives, they just love these blue-eyed Europeans or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They just look up to them like, you know what I mean? To this day, believing that they have the best this and the best that. That's why I always bring up about the Moors that taught these Europeans how to wash their ass. So this guy most likely, Diego Luis, grew up a Jesuit, being taught and schooled and graduated. Now he's writing books for them, and then then he wrote this, that his aim was to show that the Mexican emperors were a legitimate dynasty in the 17th century in the European sense, and that there's other people that, because I done heard many people say, researchers and scholars of these topic, that that Mexico, previous, before it was Mexico, that they didn't have no empires like that. Let us continue. Whatever you guys think and of these topics, break it down, make notes, uh, uh, leave it in the comments, make your own orders. If you're inspired to do your own research, to do your own videos, to tap in, to do alliances, if you want to reach out, bro, there's a lot of things that we could do. And I hope sisters or sisters can, join the movement too. Yeah, we need y'all. Women, we love y'all. Don't get fooled out there. The Jesuits were allowed to return to Mexico in 1840 when General or General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna was once more president of Mexico. Their reintroduction to Mexico was to assist in the education of the poorer classes, and much of their property was restored to them. So this guy, right, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, previously, probably this year, I had no knowledge or inkling of who he was. He kind of looks kind of Moorish. But and then one brother on another live was saying that he looked up to him. Another brother was like, oh, he was affiliated, was a Mexican soldier, politician, and caudillo. I looked up this word at this time too, because I researched him, but just quickly, right? Just to, and I forgot what this word meant. It was something like a general or something like that, or like a soldier pawn. In Spanish-speaking regions, a military or political leader, kind of like a czar. What is a Spanish caudillo? A warlord, powerful military leader, is known as a caudillo. Usually, a caudillo exerts complete control over a country's armed forces. Interesting stuff. Hope y'all appreciate. Because I appreciate learning. You don't have to appreciate me. I don't need no hug. I would appreciate a like, though. Drop a comment. Share some love. So, Back to this guy, Antonio Lopez de Santa Ana. One dude was like, I looked up to him because but I think he said later on he found out that this guy has something to do with what's that one in Texas that all these that they taught us in school, the Alamo, something to do with the Alamo or something like that. I didn't know nothing about that. But that's kind of like why I know this character right here. But then another brother was like, nah, brother, this dude was kind of like a Mason type of character. Now, we're learning that, he let the Jesuits back in. He let the Jesuits, because he was like president of Mexico, like a lot of times, if I'm not mistaken. Like just from the brief reading that I did, he was president of Mexico for like, I'm not gonna go into him right now, but he was like president of Mexico like for a lot of times, like because they like kicked him out and they put him back in, and I bet you him being a military general, he probably took a few of them times, like, give me that. But then he said their introduction to Mexico was to assist in the education of the poorer classes, and much of their property was restored to them. If you could read in between the lines, you could read in between the lines. If you can't read in between the lines, then don't mind me. Don't mind us. So you got more about northern Spanish America. We gonna get into all that. But like I said, we touched a lot of bases right here. Touched a lot of bases right here, and also in the previous lives too. That's why if you got time, then you blessed. There's a saying that time is money, money is time. Nah, you've been miseducated. Time is worth more than money. If you believe that the time is money, then you have a poverty mindset. But if you have stayed with the lecture and the reading, then you breaking spells. And I repeat what I said earlier. Over time, see, there goes that time again. Truth can transform how you feel, how you think, and how you act. And let me throw in there also how you eat, because that's why I changed my diet. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about truth back then. I used to eat Skittles, Starbursts, and oh man, don't let me go into with all the things that I used to eat and I used to drink. But then I'm a revolutionary. You dig? Some of y'all claim y'all revolutionary, but some of y'all still drinking Coca-Cola. Y'all probably got a Coca-Cola in your hands. Boy, if you don't stop it. If you want to continue drinking Coca-Cola, that's fine with me, but get that revolutionary word out your mouth. Oh man. If you're in the need of healing from illness, injury, financial hardship, or in a troubled relationship, you are at the right place at the right time. This is the Society of Luminaries. We bang on the beast. Truth shall set us free. But you know one thing? You can't free a slave if he doesn't know that he's in bondage. Do you know what the elite say? I bet you it's a Jesuit phrase. I never thought about it before, but you know what's the elite say? Do you know what's the best slave to have? Can anyone guess? I'm gonna have polls later on. Actively see what I mean, because I really want to spark. I want to spark interest. I want to spark conversations. I want to spark. I'll just nip it in the bud. The best slave to have is is the one who doesn't know he's a slave. The one who wants to be employee of the month. The ones who want to do all the dirty work for whoever. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. But if you are doing that work, and that work, there's a lot of ways to do that work. You know, first and foremost, let's love our women. Let's love our mothers, sisters, wives, mistresses if you got them. Just women in general, daughters, granddaughters. Let's lift them up. You know, because when a man first becomes conscious, that's one of the first things that he recognizes. And a lot of us, you know, we've because of society, it's not our fault. We was born into this broken society. Then, you know, let's not then, because before all this time we have to work on ourselves. You know, work is work. And like the saying says, you know, sometimes you don't have to work hard, you have to work smart. That's what we're doing here. This is work. You know, work should be pleasurable. So as we work and we're building these calluses on our hands, on our souls, on our mind, on our spirit, heart, you know, it becomes easier and easier and easier and easier. And then by the time you know it, we've transformed ourselves. And then we can help others do the same. I have a lot of respect for a lot of people. I want to build in the future, but I'm gonna let God's will be done. I'm not forcing the hand because I know what time it is. But just like there is aspects of the Jesuits and other societies and orders that I do respect, like 7 brothers coming together and forming this order, but it wasn't a fluke. They had, they know what they were doing. Started with that Ignatius character, the fire bringer. Me myself, I am a fire bearer, and I'm also a water bearer. I am fire water. Water. So take your time with it. I hope once again I've done some service. I hope this hasn't been too long. Remember, let's pace ourselves. We will win the race at a turtle's pace. Before we can fight the power, we must first gain the power to fight. Roll up your sleeves, but also get your rest. Take advantage of every day. Love your family. Love your brothers. Control those emotions, because they will pop out from time to time. I love y'all because I love myself. Until next time.
Because let me tell you, if you are not a conspiracy theorist by now, it's because
You are not intelligent.
let me tell you, if you are not a conspiracy theorist by now, it's because
You are not intelligent.
let me tell you, if you are not a conspiracy theorist by now, it's because
You are not intelligent.